Sorry guys, I had to grab my coffee. Hey YouTube, Hill Country Husker. Appreciate you guys checking out my videos. Thanks for all the subscribers. Appreciate the comments. Keep them coming. Just want to say thanks for that. The other night I was watching, came across a show on the military channel, I believe it was. I can't remember the exact title of it, but what it was talking about was the government's preparedness for disasters and doomsday and such, and how they react and things that they have in place. I guess what it was really dealing with was the idea of continuity of government, which you don't really hear a lot about anymore. Of course, back during the Cold War, that was a big issue. The government had put a lot of plans into place, and they had fortified a lot of facilities, some that are publicly known, some that most likely publicly are not, and some that are maybe just thought to be, but nobody's really for sure. That's the tricky part right there. After the Cold War, didn't really hear a whole lot more about it. I remember when I was growing up, we used to see the public service announcements, duck and cover. You guys remember those? Of course, where I grew up, we had regular tornado drills. We had the regular evacuation drills. Of course, back then there were a lot of bomb scares. Fortunately, there were not any bombings where I was at, but still, a couple of times a year we went through the preparations. We went through the drill. But the government, after the Cold War, seems like they maybe decommissioned a lot of the civil defense shelters. I don't even know where one's at anywhere near where I live. Do you? Are they still there? I don't know. I honestly do not know. The show got me thinking about it. Kind of showed it talked about some of the facilities. For example, one of them was Mount Weather, and another one was Raven Mountain. I think they refer to that as Site R. Cheyenne Mountain, another one. And all these facilities are designed for when there's an event, whether it be the Congress and Senate, or it be the air defenses, or it be the administration itself. They've got a fortified location to go to. Now, if you remember, on September 11th, when the airplanes were hitting the buildings and the Pentagon, and the plane crashed in Pennsylvania. Of course, Bush was in Florida, so they whisked him away on Air Force One and made a circuitous route around to make sure he was at a safe location. One of the locations he went to was Offutt in Omaha, which is one of those fortified locations. Cheney, Vice President Cheney, who was still in Washington when all this was going down, was whisked away to an undisclosed location about, I think they said 75 miles west of Washington, D.C. Well, that's where Mount Weather is located. I believe the official name for it is the FEMA Emergency Operations Center, located at Mount Weather. I encourage you guys to do some research on that. It's very interesting. If you want to see something truly astounding, get on Google Maps. Mount Weather is located just southeast of Berryville. Is it Virginia? Berryville, Virginia. Look on Google Maps and look at the fortifications that this FEMA Emergency Operations Center has there. It's just astounding. But the point I want to try to get to here is the government has in place a plan. They have communications set up. They have food and water. They have shelter. They have a means of providing electrical power and fresh air. They have it. And if you don't believe me, just look at the story of the Greenbrier Hotel, which is in West Virginia. And it was a holdover from the Cold War. I believe it could house up to about 1,100 people. And what it was an underground bunker, a fortified bunker that was built underneath this expensive resort, the Greenbrier Resort. And I think back in 1991, a news reporter from Washington did an expose and exposed what this facility was. And of course, at that point, the government comes out and says, yeah, you're right, okay, you got us, we're going to decommission it, and now you can actually go and visit it. You can set up a tour and you can go and visit this decommissioned federal bunker facility. That was just back in 1991. It wasn't really that long ago. Mount Weather's still there, Site R is still there, Cheyenne Mountain is still there, God knows how many others are still there. And that's fine. I think it's good that we have continuity of government. I'm glad they're preparing for it. I hope that they're preparing for other things such as EMP, and they're looking out for us, and they're preparing for things that we're not even thinking about. A lot of people might be distrustful of the government. That's fine, as am I. But on some of the things you might want to go, gosh, you know, if the government's stockpiling bullets, beans, and Band-Aids, maybe I should too. So that's really where I want to get to. If the government's doing it, you should also. I remember a couple of years ago, and I heard this one time on the radio. I've only heard it one time, and it totally just blew me away. Driving in my truck, and a public service announcement comes on the radio from FEMA telling me to be prepared, to have food, have water, have shelter, to have everything that you and I know that we need to have. But it was on an FM radio station. I heard it one time. It was a FEMA public announcement telling me stockpile food, stockpile supplies, be prepared. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Anyway, only heard it one time. Don't know if it's ever, if anybody else had heard it, or if it was ever rebroadcast for that matter. But again, if the government's trying to be prepared, you and me, we should too. Just my thoughts, Hill Country Husker. Thanks.